औज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम रब्बिश रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्तदम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा। Assalamu alaikum dear students, welcome to App6 online support program, and this is the lecture for second year physics, and I am Sidra Farooq. Today we will discuss another topic of chapter number 18, Dawn of Modern Physics, that is Compton's effect, and we will cover page number 317 to 319 in today's lecture. So how can we define Compton's effect? It is the effect that is given by a scientist known as Arthur Compton in 1923, and he performed an experiment and directed a beam of X-ray or high intense gamma ray at a block of graphite and measured the wavelength of the scattered beam at various angles to the direction of incident beam. So you can see here that there is a photon, a high intense photon, and it is moving, and now it is targeting an electron that is confined in any metal, in any material. So after the interaction or the collision between a photon and electron, you can see there is a scattered gamma ray, the scattered photon, and the other direction is the direction of that electron. Now it is moving in another angle. So basically this whole topic is about the angles to the direction of incident beam. Compton's effect, he observed that X-rays increase in wavelength when they are scattered. When an X-ray photon collides with the stationary target electron, the photon is scattered away from its original direction of motion while the electron receives an impulse and begins to move with the kinetic energy maximum. Okay, so basically this topic is already about it is also about the particle nature of light, and it is another demonstration that tells us about the particle nature of light. So we will see the experiment in further slides. So this is the mathematical experimental behavior of the circuit diagram of Compton scattering. So this is the incident photon, an X-ray photon having wavelength lambda, and it is the targeted electron which is at rest within that material known as the graphite block. So when this intense ray, the intense photon, is striked or collide with the electron at rest, the electron will recoil in another direction, and the scattered photon, it will move in the other direction. So we are basically in need to understand the angles, the angle theta and angle phi, where phi is the angle that is made with the electron, and photon has the angle of theta, and these angles they can be changed as well, because the angles, they are just giving us about the deviation of path of these electrons and photon. So they can be they are just variables, they can be replaced as well. So we have to understand few concepts here, that this is the incident photon and it is having some momentum initially because it is the photon ray that is moving. So it has the momentum of hf upon c. Now what is this hf upon c? This is h upon lambda that we have discussed in the previous lecture as well. Now what do you say about this momentum of this electron? Because it is at rest, if it is at rest, then velocity is 0, so the initial momentum of electron is 0. Now what you can see about the final momentum of electron, it is mv. because it is now gaining some kinetic energy, that is because of the interaction of photon and this electron, and now it is moving in this direction, making some angle with the horizontal. Same the case with the scattered photon. As you can see, this is in blue color, and blue color means it has a minimum wavelength as compared to this red color scattered photon wavelength, and it has now larger wavelength. So these are the observed results of this radiation scattering that I will discuss in second slide. So this is the lambda f, means the final wavelength. So there are some shift of wavelength, or there is some change in wavelength. So this lambda f minus lambda I is basically delta lambda, the change in the wavelength. It is also known as the Compton's shift. And after derivation we will observe this formula h upon m naught c 1 minus cos theta, and this whole scenario is now based upon the variation of this angle theta. Okay, so for this figure, the energy of incident photon is given as h nu or hf, whereas the momentum is given as h nu or hf upon c, as I have told you. Now if the electron is at rest, then it has zero momentum, but the energy is given by m naught c square according to Einstein equation, where m naught is the rest mass. And after collision there is some behavior that is now given by two axes, the x-axis and y-axis, because now the scattered photon and the recoil electron, they are making some angles with the horizontal. So their behavior can be represented as the energy that is absorbed in this photon is after the collision is represented by E is equals to h nu dash, and the momentum is represented by P is equals to h nu dash upon c, where dashes are the new variables after collision, whereas the recoil electron has the now momentum as mv, and the after recoiling energy is mc square, where m is the relativistic mass. So before moving on towards the calculation, we have to discuss two results here, that the scientists have observed two type of radiations. One had the same wavelength lambda as the incident beam, the other one has the slightly longer wavelength, as we have seen in the previous figures. So the difference of wavelength is known as wavelength shift or Compton's shift. So we have to drive this equation on the terms of elastic collisions. So we are considering that the interaction of photon and electron is perfectly elastic. So by keeping in view according to elastic collisions has defined as those type of collisions in which the energy and momentum will remain conserved before and after the collision. Again I am repeating, in elastic collisions there are two type of laws have to be applicable, the law of conservation of energy and the other one is law of conservation of momentum. So if these two laws will remain conserved before and after the situation, then the elastic collision will happen. So according to the law of conservation of energy, we have to apply the law here, where we can write E is equals to hf plus m naught c square, where hf is the energy of photon and m naught c square is the energy of electron before collision, must be equal to the energy of photon after collision plus the energy of photon of electron after collision. It is basically mc square. So after separating the energies of photon and electron, we have h is equals to f minus f dash is equal to m minus m naught into c square. So this is the equation number 1 that is given by the law of conservation of energy in terms of photon and electron before and after collision. Now the second thing is law of conservation of momentum. So after applying the law of conservation of momentum, we have two axes now, okay, as I have shown the picture in previous slide that there are the scattered photon and scattered electron. They are now confined in two dimension, x and y axis, because they are making some angle with horizontal. So we have to apply the law axis wise. So first of all, we have to apply the conservation of momentum along x-axis. So it is the momentum before collision, h f upon c. It is the momentum of photon. As you know that electron is at rest before collision, so it has zero momentum, is equal to the h f dash upon c cos of theta, because in x-axis the magnitude of that component can be written in terms of cos of theta. Similarly, plus mv cos of phi. Now phi is the angle that is given to electron and theta is the angle that is given to the scattered photon. So this equation can be written as h upon lambda is equals to h upon lambda dash cos theta plus pe cos of phi. Now mv can be written as pe, the momentum of electron after collision. So this is your equation number 2. This is equation number 1. We need these equations in our further calculations. Now for applying the law of conservation of momentum along y-axis, again you can see that before collision there is only movement towards x-axis, so there is no y component before collision. But after collision there is two axes given. One is towards the positive y-axis and the other one towards the negative y-axis, because it is below the mean position where the electron go after recoiling. So it can be written as hf dash upon c sine theta minus mv sine phi. Minus is because the electron is now recoiling or moving towards the negative y-axis. So hf dash upon c sine theta minus mv sine theta, and again it can be written as h upon lambda dash sine theta minus pe sine of phi. So now we have three equations. Now we have to compare these equations, and you don't need to go in detail step further, because there are some different and steps so in between these calculations. So we have to just move towards the final steps, that is 1 upon f dash is equals to 1 upon f plus h upon m naught c square 1 minus cos theta. So in basics you have to understand and memorize this step. After that, 1 upon f dash is the frequency shift after collision, minus 1 upon f is the frequency before collision of the scattered photon. This whole equation is about the scattered photon. So it is h upon m naught c square 1 minus cos theta. So we have to multiply both sides with c. We have h upon m naught c 1 minus cos of theta. So this is lambda dash minus lambda. Now lambda dash minus lambda is basically delta lambda, that is the Compton shift. So this is h upon m naught 1 minus cos of theta. So this equation is basically the Compton's equation, equation number 6. Here you can whole dependence is now on this angle theta, the cos of theta. So if theta is equals to 90, then cos 90 is 0. So according to cos 90 it is 0, then this equation can be written as the wavelength written as h upon m naught c. And now if I am using, as you can see this, okay, now if I am using the theta is equal to 0, so cos 0 is 1, then it is 1 minus 1 is equals to 0. Okay, so where the h upon m naught c is basically the Compton's wavelength. The factor is known as Compton's wavelength. Now moving on towards the third scenario, in which theta is 180 degrees. So by putting the cos 180 is minus 1, so this will give us the maximum scattering angle at 180 degree. So this all about the derivation process, and this is telling us about this experiment is telling us about the particle nature of light. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.